We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out, as people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
So today on the MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Why do I like ice?
Well, good afternoon. It is 2:05 KFGO time Wednesday, and unfortunately, I am not up at the Fargo Dome taking in the final hour and a half of the Northern Ag Expo. I'm back at the KFGO studio. You can join the conversation from here at 35270. Also, you can call into the Laney studio line all day today at 237-5948. A couple of things we're going to be discussing today. The tragic shooting that happened, and another school shooting in Michigan, 15-year-old suspect. Talk about that. Another individual, young adult, died. So that I think we're up to 4 now. So we'll talk about that and what led to that. Also, I've been getting more calls and texts and emails about this bow hunting with inside city limits. More of that brought to me again last night and today. So I'm going to do a little bit more, just some few final thoughts on that and get yours as well. Chris Atterbury, our friend and studio host of your Minnesota Twins. Yeah, I guess football season, but guess what? Byron Buxton signed a deal. It's officially official today. We'll visit with him about that and tell you about an event going on in downtown Fargo this Friday. That and more coming up right after this KFGO News.
KFGO News, it's 2:06, currently 51 degrees in Fargo-Moorhead. Today, that's going to be our high, 51, maybe pushing higher than that, partly to mostly cloudy and breezy. I'm Madison Quinn from the KFGO News Center. Reporter Laura Oak says edibles will become part of Minnesota's medical marijuana program.
Gummies and chews will be added to the list of approved cannabis delivery methods on August 1st, 2022. In March, registered patients will also be allowed to smoke cannabis following legislative approval earlier this year. The list of conditions that allows patients to use cannabis is now at 17. Health officials recently rejected a push to have anxiety disorder added to that list.
51 degrees in Fargo-Moorhead. A man escaped injury, but he was cited after he crashed his vehicle into Thrifty White Pharmacy on South Columbia Road in Grand Forks late last night. Police say the East Grand Forks man lost control of his vehicle, left the roadway, and came to a stop partially inside the business. There is significant damage to the foundation and interior of the building. Stay off the ice for now. That's Minnesota DNR's Lisa Dugan. It's early in the season and conditions can change quickly.
If you do choose to go out, make sure that you're checking conditions as you're walking and throughout the day, because what might have been safe enough in the morning, things can change quickly. So make sure that you're checking that as you're going.
Last winter, 3 people died after falling through ice in Minnesota, with 40 thin ice deaths over the past 11 years. Locally, West Fargo Fire Department is warning people to stay off the Cheyenne River and retention ponds. Holiday shopping season is here, and you're encouraged to shop local. With hundreds of online shopping options, Minnesota Retailers Association President Bruce Nunstead says the pandemic has affected all retail businesses.
It kind of depends on, where you are and what you sell. We've got some folks that have done just fine, some folks that have done well, but quite a few that have struggled during the pandemic. So this is a pretty essential kind of make or break time for a lot of small business retailers in Minnesota.
Nunstead said there are around 55,000 retailers in Minnesota, and around 50,000 of those are considered small businesses. Most are owned locally. Fans of the Foo Fighters are hoping the band will still come to the Twin Cities after canceling an August 3rd concert at the Gophers football stadium. Foo Fighters announced their summer tour yesterday, but the Minneapolis date was removed a few hours later. They pulled out of the show over what they called Huntington Bank's refusal to agree to the band's COVID safety measures. University of Minnesota, which runs the stadium, says on-campus policies related to vaccines, mask wearing, personal hygiene, and other precautions are aligned with the state and federal guidelines. Foo Fighters came to Minnesota in 2018 when they played Xcel Energy Center on their Concrete and Gold tour. KFGO weather, 51 degrees currently in Fargo-Moorhead. Today, partly to mostly cloudy. Tonight, overnight low of 32, mostly cloudy, scattered evening sprinkles. Tomorrow, chance for a few sprinkles or flurries, mostly cloudy, high 41. I'm Madison Quinn, News Radio, KFGO.
Well, did that blast of Everlong jolt you out of your office chair, wake you up, get you energized to tackle the afternoon? It caught us off guard a little bit in the KFGO studio.
So if you're putting together that story for our very own Madison Quinn, excellent newscaster, do you go with Everlong, or what's the 5-second Foo Fighters clip that you get to hook everybody?
It's got to be Everlong.
Okay.
Just because that's the most universally known. So, I mean, good song selection. Because, for...
Correct me if I'm wrong, the last song ever played on David Letterman's late night show, right?
Yes. I got nothing to award you, but you are right. Well, they did the whole concert for him, which fun to watch. So yesterday when I was up at the Fargo Dome, we were talking about this because obviously I'm a large Foo Fighters fan, disappointed because I was in line to get those tickets. And I predict that they did this on purpose because they shot out the list. It was all official. People were bragging about it. They had even gone as far as going on social media saying, hey, what songs do you want to hear? Minneapolis. And then minutes after, they yanked everything off. Just to raise awareness to this, I think. But I was saying yesterday, look, if I'm a venue out in Minneapolis or St. Paul, I'm clawing. I'm going for it. You had a down year in most of these venues because you couldn't host anything. You couldn't have crowds for over a year. And now that they don't play the Red Hawks, can I say, hey, good going, St. Paul Saints, because they're saying, hey, we don't have a game that day. Just saying. Get them. I would be making phone calls right now.
And the Saints have a relatively new stadium, I believe, down by in the Como Park area.
I've not been.
Also, another newer stadium is I think it's Allianz Field, where the Minnesota United play soccer.
Mm-hmm. Again, never
supposed
been,
to be beautiful. I've only seen pictures,
photos of both. Correct, but yeah, I don't know. I hope something works out with that because I would like to go. Last time I was there when they were at the XL, 2015, I think, down in Sioux Falls. A couple years later, was that 2017? Who's keeping track of time these days? It's flying by, isn't it? This is After He's Live. I'm Tyler Axis, your host. Eric Johnson, he's our producer. You can be listening to us on 790 AM, 104.7 FM. You can go to KFGO.com and watch radio live if you just click on the video player down there as well. We're we're going to get into a couple of things here. One thing this is how live and local we are right now. As Madison Quinn is working his way through the KFGO news update, I received a text to my phone. Political opinion research, please take the survey about the Fargo mayoral race. So somebody's out there doing some polling about the Fargo mayor's race already here in December 1st, 2021. So I haven't gone through. I've got the link. I have not clicked through it. I tell you what, I might do that during one of these news updates and just see. You can read into perhaps who's funding these type of polls by the way of which they ask the questions. And we'll see, because we know that Tim Mahoney, current mayor, is running for re-election because of the whole court battle that was resolved. And they said, sure, you got the ability to run one more time here. So if there's anything push-pull in here, saying, hey, if Mayor Mahoney did this, what would your reaction be? That would be a tell for me. So interesting to see on this local level that they're sending out this early in the game, this opinion poll. The fact that it is this early makes me want to say that it's probably somebody else that's considering putting their name on the ballot. Just my gut instinct. We'll find out. I'll let you know about that. 237-5948. You could also text into 35270. The one thing in this line of work, you never know exactly what's going to grab people's attention, grab people's emotions, and get them like a call to action without even realizing it. And for me, within the last month, it's been this in city limits bow hunting, and the fact that you have the current police chief saying that he wanted to do away with it for safety reasons, and then in the mix there was also some resources I want to say as well, because of staff timing. And I keep getting calls and I keep getting texts and emails about this very topic, and I appreciate that, because clearly it's on your minds. The thing is, before this attempt to repeal the ordinance, nobody probably thought a wink about it, unless you were involved in the program as far as organizing the safety aspects, policing it, or if you were, in fact, one of those bow hunters going out there to harvest a doe. But now it's certainly on the minds of a lot of people. But, I was doing a little bit of the Google search here, just going to kfgo.com and looking back through some things. And the first article I could find, our very own Don Haney, I believe is the one that wrote this story back in October of 2006, interviewing a guy named Mark, who was smiling today. He bagged one of the first deer in Fargo's first ever bow hunt. And in fact, it's a former KFGO employee. Mike Mazahari was in a tree stand, and I apologize, Mark, if I just butchered your last name. About 6 last night. Anyway, that goes on to talk about some dozen hunters got the special permits for the urban hunt that started September 1st and runs through January. Now, mind you, this is 2006. The goal is to reduce the size of the herd. Residents complain the growing number of deer have been causing lots of problems. That growing number, since then, you haven't heard as much about it. That's what I'm saying. Not a lot of people were thinking about this program a whole heck of a lot until recently. So, but here you have 2006, and you have had all these years of this going on without incident or without documented incident of any safety issues. So that's the thing that's, I think, ruffled so many feathers here, saying, if you're going to say this is a safety factor, where has the harm been done? The other thing, though, that people were bringing to my attention over the last 24 hours was, okay, well, if the safety issue, maybe if that was just being used as the cover because we just don't really want this program, then the other fact is you've got the whole police department resources. And that's the other path that somebody led me down, saying, Tyler, do you recall that the Fargo Parks had the Fargo Park District had a city police officer as part of their team in the Department for the Wide Approach of Patrolling City Parks, in which I believe, and I'm trying to find, where it's written in code, job duties of this officer that's no longer there with this role. And I shouldn't say they're no longer part of the Fargo Park District, but now I think pulled back into the police department. And I'm not saying that's right, no wrong. That's just the reality of it. But I do believe this individual was in charge of that whole program as well, as far as the enforcement part. So all this making and moving around, and this did happen, I think, within this last year. I'm looking at an article that was out March 31st, 2021, in which current police chief Dave Zabolski moved that individual from the Park District over back to the police department. So there are some of these moving parts that have got people worked up. But what I would encourage you, and I don't know how much more studying can be done to make this program safer, because there has been very few incidents. To make the enforcement side more seamless to where it's maybe not in the jurisdiction of the police department. I'm fine with that. If that needs to get moved to, game and fish, okay. But to study the program any more than what they already have, I don't know what more you're going to get out of it. So sure, we can have another 90 days, but I mean, to me, it seems as though after those 90 days, you're likely going to get the opportunity. Okay, well, let's just print off the manual of which we did and just change the date on it and call her good. So I don't know. I'm glad through your efforts, through these airwaves, and from contacting your commissioners, that this at least has been kind of slowed down. You got 90 days to study this, but it's not over. I predict that this thing is going to hold, but it's going to take more of your effort to contact your commissioner saying, look, this has been a good program. The population's been in control. We don't have, the thousands upon thousands of deer roaming through parts of Fargo, causing a safety hazard for the general public. But they need to hear from you, and we'll continue to tell you about those opportunities. Messages in at 35270. I'll come back to those right after these quick messages here, after these live on a Wednesday. We're just getting started here on KFGO. Stay with us.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen,
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that?
From It Takes Two.
Doug here with the morning crew this morning.
Jerkins News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Force.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also...
All right, a couple minutes before we get caught up with KFGO news, this message comes in about the whole bow hunting thing. And we'll move on. I got to talk about the Oxford school shooting. In fact, that there's a sheriff discussing that right now of not having any prior knowledge of that shooting threat at the school. But we'll talk about that after KFGO news. But this message comes, Tyler, thanks. One thing that doesn't get mentioned, the deer are smart and cross the river over to Moorhead and then back and forth. The program needs to be expanded to a metro wildlife management plan, or it's not fully effective. That is a great text. I mean, I think it's fair because, and to be honest with you, I don't know what wildlife management plan, say, Moorhead has, if anything, as of now. So somebody over there knows, by all means, 35270, or call the Delaney studio line at 237-5948 and enlighten me on that. But I think that's fair. So maybe if I'm going to be saying, do we really need 90 more days to talk about something? Because I said, if it's not this, then what? I mean, do we really need to be hiring this out and paying some sharpshooter, as they're calling out there, to go out there and take care of the deer population? I don't think so. I think this gives people an opportunity to get out in the outdoors, enjoy what the metro has as far as some of the river, the wildlife that are here. I mean, you've got to control these things ultimately, though, and that's why we have agencies that do these sorts of things. So let me take a step back to where, all right, 90 days, getting our partners over in Moorhead involved as well. Making a metro wildlife management plan. To where they have, a scope. I get it. People are, for some reason, say, well, you shouldn't be doing this inside city limits, but you've got to do something to control the population because you're going to have issues. I mean, especially with this deer population. How many times have we had DNR or Game and Fish on this very program talking about all the disease that is running rampant through these herds of deer? The deer population, you have EHD, you have chronic wasting. They're asking us to go out there and test, on our own behalf to see if a deer has chronic wasting. We're hearing of 30, 40 dead deer because of this EHD that has been spreading across the area. Some of that happens just because of the drought, but also because of uncontrolled populations at times. That's why these things are important. Tyler, Moorhead currently does not have a metro hunting program, which they did. We have deer all over by my residence being close to the river. So there you go. If they're listening, which I know some of those commissioners are, in fact, some of those that might be on this task force, and people that have already put in the work to get the Fargo program, I think, and I would deem it a success. Time to get the hands extended across the river and say, all right, Moorhead, your turn. What can you bring? What can we do together in this metro area to control some of this? Tyler, since 2006, there's only been one stray arrow found in the parks. I would say we already have sharpshooters handling it. Fair point. Now, you don't find every arrow, and I have not really bow hunted. I have before, and I've shot bow before. But the way of which they have studied and tried to integrate this, I was visiting with somebody saying, you know what, this seems, because of the safety concerns, they have created such a program that which you have to adhere to so many different things that you have got to be dedicated to even want to sign up. I don't want that to deter anybody from, if this program still is maintained, from signing up. I just say, out of my personal impatient self, boy. But that's the good thing, and that's what I think underscores the fact that they are actively trying to make this a success to control the population and to keep it safe for residents. So they're out there doing the job, and we've had a couple hundred, I think, harvested over the last few years, and that's been, I don't want to say more than enough, but it's been enough to keep it out of mind for a lot of people here. But all right, you just gave the order out there. You made the request saying, you know what, if we're going to do this, if you got 90 days to reevaluate this, ask Moorhead. The thing that might be complicated here is not only you've got two city jurisdictions, you got two states, which means you got Game and Fish, you got DNR. You know what? I've been getting a lot of calls from people about this program on this. I will visit with the people I know on both sides of this. As far as the wildlife management, how difficult is it to work across those state lines with the Game and Fish and DNR if this is going to be a possibility? We'll talk about it in a little bit here. And apparently this is not putting a bow on this for me. I'll be guiding us through this conversation throughout probably these next 90 days of the way it is going. That's just fine with me. Get you caught up with KFGO News. Rusty Halverson, he's back from the Northern Ag Expo. We'll see what he's brought back with him next right here on KFGO.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. Right. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out, as people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it.
KFGO News 2:30, currently 51 degrees in the FM Metro. Today, partly to mostly cloudy and breezy. That high, 51. A Madison download group, Butler says it's a significant problem.
Several of the camps that were very messy since the cold weather chased people out have been cleaned up fairly well. There are other camps are known about. But my main concern is having talked to police officers, I think 3 times this summer and more recently, who is responsible for cleaning up the camps?
Police Sergeant Brent Halverson says downtown resource officers located several camps and oversaw a massive cleanup.
The Parks District and the DROs then went back down there last Wednesday and kind of did a sweep of this area. And they actually ended up filling 2 garbage trucks, park garbage trucks worth of stuff. And what the DROs were witnessing was that people would be dumpster diving and actually taking trash out of the dumpsters and bringing it and dispersing it down here at the river. And so they got most of that stuff then cleaned back up.
Halverson says police are working with the Park District. He says many of those in the camps are homeless and have mental health and or drug alcohol abuse issues. Union healthcare workers are asking for a meeting with top Minnesota hospital officials, warning that patient care is being hurt by chronic understaffing and low wages that are driving workers out of the field. Lolita Granados is a clinical support specialist.
We need action, not just words. These last few years has left us tired and has caused many people to leave this field. We are getting pushed to the edge, and we are losing many great staff members and coworkers.
The Minnesota Hospital Association acknowledges the state's health systems are experiencing a workforce crisis. KFGO News Time, 2:32. It's 51 degrees. It's 2:32, currently 51 degrees in Fargo-Moorhead. As the holiday shopping season continues, the head of Minnesota Retailer Association is encouraging you to shop local. Association President Bruce Newstead.
We have about 55,000 retailers in Minnesota, 50,000 of which are small businesses. So 90% of our small business retail community are those small business entrepreneurs.
Newstead says December is a make-or-break month for many Minnesota retailers. City of Fargo will host a ribbon cutting for its first electric vehicle charger tomorrow, December 2nd. Fargo Mayor Dr. Tim Mahoney and Xcel Energy North Dakota Principal Manager Tony Grinberg will provide comments before Fargo-Moorhead West Fargo Chamber of Commerce ambassadors initiate the ribbon cutting at 9 a.m. at Fargo City Hall. Fargo Sustainability and Resiliency Committee and Fargo Public Works Department are also assisting in the dedication. City of Fargo collaborated with Xcel Energy to complete the grant-funded project. The charger will supply electrical power for charging plug-in electric vehicles, including hybrid cars and trucks. KFGO Weather Center forecast today, high 51, partly to mostly cloudy and breezy. Tonight, overnight low of 32, some scattered evening sprinkles. Tomorrow we'll see those sprinkles in the morning and or flurries, a high of 41, mostly cloudy. I'm Madison Quinn, News Radio, KFGO.
Hello there, Rusty Halverson. Welcome back
Hello.
From the Fargo Dome. That was a long trip back south.
Yeah.
To 25th Street.
Yeah, not bad.
I didn't get the opportunity to go up there today. They closed at 3:30. Were you listening yesterday? They were cleaning all around me.
Yeah. Well,
spick and span, that Fargo crew, that Fargo Dome crew, they know what they're doing.
They keep it sharp and clean.
They were
there.
efficient, too. I mean, just people doing their task and then somebody else come do the second part of that.
Yeah.
Is entertaining to watch.
You know, they do a great job of turning things over for new events because they've got some sort of event tomorrow, and then they turn it around for the football game on this weekend.
Yeah, you hear those stories of, all right, you got a concert Friday night, and it's a sold-out show.
Yep.
And then Saturday at noon, you got a football game. So, I mean, you're pulling an all-nighter.
Yeah.
I don't think it paid well.
There's somebody on that little machine all night long.
But you were up there today visiting more with the fine folks that were presenting. The booths were full. What'd you learn today?
Yeah, well, Chris Novak, president and CEO of CropLife America, he spoke to producers earlier today about the attitude in Washington, D.C. toward crop production tools. Now, Chris says that farmers in this area are well aware that the federal government touches agriculture in a bunch of ways, whether it's commodity programs or trade programs. But one thing they may not think about is how our agricultural inputs and the impact on government decisions on pesticides and having new tools available.
Most consumers don't understand the regulatory process that exists. We had one consumer who said, a company will come up with a new pesticide and they'll have it out on the market in 6 months. Well, it's actually a 10 to 12-year process that our companies have to go through, making investments in safety research and environmental research that is submitted to EPA. The federal EPA will take 2 to 3 years to review that data and provide directions to the companies in terms of how and where a pesticide can be used.
Sometimes, Tyler, there might be a bit of a gap between understanding of production agriculture and how our food is produced and where it comes from. And it's guys like Chris Novak that are on Capitol Hill trying to make sure that lawmakers are educated about how our food is raised, too.
I'm going to get myself in trouble yet again.
Uh-oh.
Just a story. So, I read on Indy Explains from time to time when I'm not on these airwaves.
Yep.
And in 2000, it was December 2016, I wrote an article. So you had the elections in which Democrats get swept.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about, well, you know what? You talk about the rural parts of the country as far as that party goes. You don't really come here and visit with us. You don't understand how energy is produced. You don't understand where your food comes from. Boy, if you want to get some nasty commentary going, Send that out to somebody in New York or on the West Coast, how arrogant it is. But it's the reality that they don't understand all the work that goes in to raising a crop, raising cattle. It's not just as simple as going to the grocery store and it's going to be on the shelf.
Yeah.
So there. Well,
exactly.
And if people want to get mad at me, by all means, 35270. You didn't say that. I said that.
No,
I'll
and
double down on
it's definitely in agriculture's best interest to use the best practices because they depend so much on soil, water, and whatnot. And we can talk about that just a little bit more next hour.
Oh,
if you'd like.
professional tease.
Yep.
Rusty, appreciate it.
Okay, you bet.
I'll save that chair for you for next hour.
Okay, thank you.
If you can't wait for more Rusty Halverson until next hour, you can go to KFGO.com. Just click on that agriculture tab, find his work, and Sarah Heinrich, our farm and ranch director there. Award-winning, multi-award winning, both of those two. Number one in the business for a reason. CBS National News on the way. More messages about bow hunting inside city limits. We've got to get into the old tragedy in this school shooting over in Oxford, Oakland County in Michigan, just north of Detroit, about 30 miles. 15-year-old suspect in custody. They're going to try him as an adult. He had a 9mm that was purchased from his dad on Black Friday. Let's talk about gun safety and what comes with that next right here on KFGO.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour
Before
early.
we get you to the 5 o'clock punch out here on Afternoons Live, I'm going to remind you how you can win a grill and tell you how we're going to have a party for us to give you that grill. Simple. All I got to do is text grill. 35270. Whether that's now, tomorrow, morning, it doesn't matter when. It's simple. It's free to get registered. And we'll let you know if, in fact, you're a finalist. I'll tell you more of the details later on in the show here. At 3 o'clock, we're going to head on down to Minneapolis. Talk to our very own Chris Adberry, studio host of your Minnesota Vikings. Clearly, football's on the mind. Minnesota Twins. Why? Because, you know what? Byron Buxton's back, and he's back for a while, so we'll talk to him about that. And the agreement deadline is midnight tonight. What happens if, in fact, there is nothing? What times? We'll get to all that a little bit later on. Let's get into the heavy topic of, or one of, trust me, if you're watching any of the national news, lots of heavy topics today. The school shooting that happened yesterday in Oxford, which is in Oakland County, which is about 30 miles north of Detroit. A 15-year-old male student was arrested for this. And we're going to play some audio for you, in fact, if we have it, because there was a Snapchat that went out from one of the students in the class or in a classroom while this was going on. And we'll talk about that and the fact that a 15-year-old had a 9mm. But first, there's nothing graphic in here, but you got to take a listen to this. This is what's going on in schools across the country.
Yes. Sheriff's office. It's safe to come out.
Yeah, he said it's safe to come out.
Now, we're not willing to take that risk right now. I can't hear you. We're not taking that risk right now. Okay, well, come to the door and look at my bag, bro.
No. Yeah, bro.
He said bro.
He said bro. Red flag.
Okay, so what you just heard there was a classroom in that high school, which the shooting occurred. And you have somebody outside that door that was locked, claiming that they were the sheriff and that it was safe to come out now. And what I would assume is a teacher or a supervisor in that classroom saying, yeah, we're not going to take that risk right now. And the tell for the students, and you could hear it immediately, was the fact that that individual on the other side of that door said, just come look at my badge, bro. And you could hear the student say, he said, bro, that's a red flag. Now let's think about that for a second. That was the tell. That was the red flag that he said, bro. And had he not said that, had they opened the door, what could have tragically been worse than what it already has been. 4 now dead today. I mean, every school, and I assume it's a training that happens regularly, just like we had our fire drills, just like we had our tornado drills. Now you got school shooting drills that happen. And you have those that are doing these and committing these crimes, murders, taking in those trainings as well. I mean, for that, what we expect is the suspect to go up, say that he was identify himself as a sheriff, saying that it's clear. I mean, he had to have learned that somewhere. Along with those same classmates, perhaps, that realized that there was a red flag, by the way, which he said, bro. Pretty jarring stuff. But what has been revealed of the shooting that happened yesterday, and this is where we got to talk about this. The 15-year-old that's going to be tried in as an adult, and I'm looking up at the monitors, and the sheriff is still talking at a press conference right now. So if there's any news that comes out of that, we'll try to get caught up to speed here. But what we know before the show started was that this kid had a 9mm handgun that was used in the shooting that was bought by his father 4 days earlier. The gun had a 15-round magazine, 2 of which had so far been found at the school. My question is pretty simple. Why does a 15-year-old need a 9mm? And I ask this question as somebody that at a very early age was gifted a 20-gauge shotgun. But with that came the responsibility of the adult to make sure that as a young person, younger than 15 probably, that, look, this was put away. Yes, it's yours, and it'll forever be yours along with all the other guns in the gun cabinet that we have growing up. They're all going to be yours, but the responsibility is upon the adult to where it's locked away, to where you do not ever have the opportunity to utilize this thing until we learn the gun safety, till we are out together doing this. So when I look at this, yes, this 15-year-old is going to be tried in as an adult. Good. He went there, and clearly by that audio, he planned this out. 15-year-old suspect who hasn't been commenting on anything to the police, wanted an attorney. So this didn't just happen on a whim. But for this father to buy a 15-year-old a 9mm handgun 4 days before it was used to kill classmates, where does the responsibility lie on that father? And I ask this with the fact that it wasn't very long ago, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that we were discussing what, if any, responsibility Kyle Rittenhouse's mother had by driving him, just driving him across state lines, not providing the gun. So if in your mind you think that she has to bear some responsibility for driving him to that situation, does this father not bear some responsibility for this as well, as the adult in this situation, for purchasing the handgun and then not locking it up, not providing that gun safety that I think many of you listening right now, that if you had a gun at a young age, did from your responsible parents or your responsible adults that were supervising you? 35270. You could also call into the Lightning Studio line at 237-5948. Tyler, did the father of the shooter buy the gun for the shooter, or did the dad just buy the gun for himself and the kid got into it? The way I understand it was that he bought it for his son. Bought by the father's suspect, by the suspect's father 4 days earlier. The gun. I'll try, because I think that's an important question. I think you're right. As to, did he buy it for himself, or did he buy it for his son? I need some clarification. That's a fair question to ask. Tyler, I was given a single shot 20 gauge when I was in the 6th grade. I had to take hunter safety education, and it was a gun in a cabinet at home until we went hunting. Occasionally, I could take it out and oil it. Rules. I kid you not, I could have sent that text in. I mean, identical. My first gun was a 20 gauge single shot. Still have it in the gun cabinet. It's just like you. The only time, aside from hunter safety in this, if I was going out with an adult, was to learn how to properly clean and store this thing. Nailed it. I got goosebumps when he sent it in, because it's exactly the way of which I was raised with this as well. As for that question he sent in, I'm going to get you caught up with weather from Too Tall Tom Schmansky. I will see if there's been any clarification as to whether or not the father bought it for himself or for his 15-year-old son. I'll come back hopefully with an answer right after this on KFGO.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy, and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate.
About 6 minutes left of this hour. I'll get you caught up with CBS National News. Perhaps they're going to have some more on this story because it does look as though the sheriff just wrapped up that press conference. To this texter that I said, I think this is a fair question. We don't have answers. Did the father of the shooter buy the gun for the shooter, or did the dad just buy the gun for himself and the kid got into it? So the latest information I have now, granted, because I've been talking for the last hour while the sheriff's been talking, I don't know what was revealed there, but the information that I'm getting this from is a New York Times article that was updated about an hour ago. And the boy's parents did go to the sheriff's substation after the shooting. They declined to let the investigators question their child. Officials served a search warrant last night at the family's house, and the investigators were examining, computers, phones, and social media. The family has hired a lawyer, understandable. But there is nothing as to whether or not the father bought it for himself or for his child. I mean, that information has not been updated yet due in part because the parents aren't talking because they hired an attorney. With that said, so let's say that this father bought it for himself, and this is going to get me into another text that just rolled in here. You still have the responsibility to secure that firearm. And this message, Tyler, can you think of anything in your house when you were 15 that was actually out of your reach if you left alone for a half hour? You know what? Probably not. But I think that comes down to a variety of things as to, sure, I probably could have, at 15 years old, gotten into the gun cabinet and, went out and hunted or did whatever. Never would have thought about doing something like this. That's part of this problem that I think we've been trying to figure out. How in the world has this psyche been allowed to just continue week after week, month after month, year after year, in which somebody that clearly needs some help isn't getting it, hasn't chosen to get it, or doesn't have access to it? Because even if I did have access at 15, never once would this have crossed my mind. Never once did it cross my mind. Nor does it at 35, in which I've got more firearms. So that's a whole other side of this, is to, all right, yep, young adults probably could get into things, but not all of them choose to. So why are we not getting the help we certainly have a need for when it comes to behavioral and mental health at that early age? That takes money. That takes the willingness to talk about that as well. But I don't know that we're even getting to the table at that point yet. Interesting conversation. We will pick it up. I'm going to switch gears here at 3 o'clock because Chris Atterbury, our friend of the show and studio host of your Minnesota Twins, we're going to talk about that Byron Buxton deal, what's included in the incentives to keep him on the field. If he does stay on the field healthy, is playing, is winning, as the athlete that he is, what are the additions that he might get? He'll break that down also. Owners, players, do we have an agreement? Are we going to have a holdout? I hope not, but he'll break that down for us after we get you caught up with CBS National News. Also, I'm going to tell you about an event going on downtown Fargo on Friday. I've got tickets to get you to the Cheese Ball event. We'll tell you what that is with Dan Hurder, who's throwing that a little bit later on in the show. This is Afternoons Live. I'm Tyler Axis, your host, and you got locked into 790 AM and 104.7 FM, KFGO.
Halverson here with another Don Hurder, News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with with the
Beer
Mighty
cans and couch
790.
potato radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug here with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Bailey Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Two tall tops, Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Access, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. Right. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
At 3 o'clock, from time to time, I like to tell you what's trending at 3. Here's a headline for you. World's first living robots can now reproduce, scientists say. Gee, what could go wrong?
Hopefully they're being produced by the Skynet Corporation.
Xenobots.
I assume these are small nanobot
Yeah,
type
that's how a lot of things start, off small. U.S. scientists who created the first living robots say the life forms known as xenobots can now reproduce, and in a way not seen in plants and animals. Great, thanks, science. Just because you can does not mean you should. Let's get you caught up with KFGO News. Paul Jurgens. We're heading out to Minneapolis. We'll visit with our friend Chris Atterbury about Byron Buxton next.
KFGO News, mostly cloudy, Fargo-Moorhead 52. I'm Paul Jurgens. Police and the management of some downtown Fargo bars are working on a plan to better coordinate ride-sharing and taxi services at closing time. Sergeant Brent Halverson says he's been in touch with companies that offer the services.
Ride shares and taxis bustling all over, and nobody knows who's it for, and they're racing to it in the middle of the road because 5 different people have all asked for that same cab to happen, and everyone's running out there. We'd like to put some order to it. So we're currently working with some of the big rideshare companies across the nation to try to see if we could select this by geographics, date, time, location, so that it doesn't affect business and commerce.
Halverson told a meeting of the new downtown download group that NP Avenue and Broadway are the primary locations where bar customers congregate to meet rideshare and cab drivers. He says 2 spots may be designated as trial locations for the program. Halverson also released recent crime trends for downtown. Between October 26th and November 26th, there were 4 burglaries, 14 thefts, 8 criminal mischief reports, 2 robberies, and 3 serious assaults. The West Fargo Police and Fire Departments are reminding people to stay off the iced-over Cheyenne River and the retention ponds. Nearly 20% of those who fall into cold water die in the first minute of immersion due to cold water shock. It may look as though the water is frozen solid, but there's no guarantee the ice will be thick enough to withstand extra weight. If someone falls through the ice, call 911 immediately. The West Fargo Fire Department has specialized equipment and completes training to allow it to safely respond. Medical marijuana patients in Minnesota will be allowed to use edibles next summer. The Department of Health will approve THC gummies and chews as a new medical cannabis delivery method on August 1st. The rulemaking process will begin this month. The state's medical cannabis program is now limited to pills, oils, liquids, and lozenges. Early damage estimates from a fire at a seed potato warehouse in Larimore, North Dakota last night are $2 million. The Grand Forks County Sheriff's Office and Larimore Fire Department responded to the blaze at Hoverson Farms. Employees said they had electrical problems with equipment about an hour before the call. The warehouse contained potato seed and equipment, including a new truck and new skid steer loader. The cause is under investigation. Fargo-Moorhead near 50, low 50s now for our high this afternoon. Partly to mostly cloudy. We're at 52. 32 overnight, mostly cloudy, maybe some evening sprinkles. Tomorrow, 41, mostly cloudy. Possible sprinkles or flurries. Again, Fargo-Moorhead, mostly cloudy. It's 52. Paul Jurgens, News, Radio KFGO.
KFGO time is precisely 3:10 on a Wednesday. And you know what? During the regular season, at this time, we visit with our main man, Chris Atterbury, studio host for your Minnesota Twins. I get it. It is winter. But you know what? Our hearts are warm because Byron Buxton got that extension. Chris, welcome back to the show. I hope you've been doing well, man.
Yeah, I'm well for a couple of reasons. One, your music selections in the winter are a little heavier. I like that. You get a little funky. When we get a little cooler in the temps, and then B, usually this time of year, I'm heading to Fargo, so my Bobcats are getting whipped up on by the Bison, and this year opposite sides of the bracket. So I'm living right.
Maybe we meet in Frisco this year.
Ooh,
that'd be
yeah.
warm.
I'll buy the first round for you if we're in Frisco together.
I will hold you to that, so you be careful now. All right. Well, this was welcome news to me. I know that there are some people who are divided. Well, this seems like a good deal for both Byron and the Twins. I'm just curious your thoughts as it's now official.
No, I'm delighted. I'm absolutely elated that they figured it out. It was, to me, I think I told you on this show, the biggest issue of the offseason, right? It was going to decide everything, what happened with Byron. And for both teams to work it out, the deal really shows the commitment on both sides, because Byron, recognizing that, yeah, I've been hurt, I've missed some games, but I'm really good when I'm healthy. I think I'm going to play more. He wasn't trying to squeeze extra nickels. He wanted the no trade, the stability more than anything else. And now, if he plays 100 games, if he plays 125 games, he's going to make ample money. He'll still be underpaid, but he's not worried about that. He's set up for the future for Brixton, for Blaze, for Newton, and that's all he wants, is to do the Twins uniform. And for the team, they don't cripple the player payroll, right? There's no shackles now on anything. It doesn't. If he gets hurt and he can't play, it's the same as if a guy you plucked off the free agent wire as a reliever. Think of Jay Happ money, stuff like that from last year. If it doesn't work out, it's not going to keep you from improving other aspects of your roster. He's going to be grossly underpaid. Even honestly, if he gets all the bonuses and he makes $25 million for being the MVP, he's still underpaid compared to guys who win the MVP. So I think it's good for everybody. It just shows also Buck, had his conference today. The fact that James Rousen would fly here from Miami to be here when he works for another team, that shows what kind of person Byron is and how people gravitate to him. I remember Taylor Rogers in our last segment last year said, hey, Buck and I are going to be free agents the same year. And I don't know if this is collusion, but wherever he goes, that's where I'm going. That's the type of feeling his teammates have for him.
Well, and like you say, for all things considered, I do think that this is a heck of a deal. I mean, he's going to be underpaid with the talent. I mean, if you think back to the beginning of this year, you know what he's capable of. MVP is not by any means out of reach if he stays healthy. So for those that I've been hearing that are saying, kind of the naysayers saying, well, I don't know if I would have done this. You're out of your mind. If you're listening to me right now saying that, you're out of your mind. Enjoy, celebrate. You've got one of the most dynamic athletes in all of Major League Baseball that's going to be a Twin for the next 7 years.
He's a reason to buy a ticket. He's a reason to bring your family and spend the weekend in the Twin Cities to see him, because Byron can do things that nobody else can do. And he's one of those guys that even other big league guys who are the top 0.5% in the world at what they do, even they're in awe of what Byron can do. So I think it's great. There's very little risk here for the Twins. There's ample reward for everybody, and Buck gets to have stability to wear the same uniform his whole career. That's a really big deal for him. And the fun thing for me to think about is as he gets to year 7, having known Byron since he was 18, as he gets to year 7, Brixton's going to be like in high school. He's going to be creeping up on draft age. And man, that's going to be a fun conversation to have, too.
Hey, it's interesting you bring that up because just moments ago, a listener texted into our text club at 35270. Tyler, can you ask Chris, how old is Byron Buxton?
Byron's 28 now, I think. That sounds right. I'm going with 28.
28. We'll stick to it. It's somewhere within that vicinity. He's not 30 yet. He's a young man is what I mean.
No. And let me put it this way also in terms of how his teammates view him. When he signed, or it was announced that he was staying, I got text messages from a handful of his current teammates that were all various celebratory gifts. Or GIFs, or however the cool kids are pronouncing it.
Yeah, careful, because we have disagreement in this studio as my producer and
I'm just going to say, just pick your side. I'm not going to say which one. I don't even know, claiming ignorance. But I got all sorts of celebratory things unprompted from his teammates about that. So that doesn't happen when everybody signs a contract.
And I think this is a prime example because you can see it in other sports as well that you have an individual. I get it; these are team games. But if you got an individual that brings the chemistry, the energy, that they uplift the playing of every other person out on that field or on that rink, whatever, it makes a world of difference. It energizes the crowd, as you just said, Chris, that you're going to have people buying tickets because Byron Buxton's going to be out there. This just, again, you can tell I'm a little excited for this. I would have sent you a celebratory GIF as well. There, I just outed myself which one I'm on. So I'm happy for it. I'm happy for the organization. To that point,
he also, you got to remember, he also just makes he gives you flexibility on the field. You don't have to have corner outfielders with as much range. And let's be honest, the up-and-coming corner outfielders that the Twins have, the Rookers, the Larnacks, the Kirilloffs, these are not speed demon defensive guys. Right. But you can get away with them if you've got Byron in center field. Pitching, we know we need pitching. Well, you know what? Pitchers like playing with a guy like that in center field, that's for sure. He can change the way everybody on the field plays. He makes everybody more effective in the batting order because if he's on base or if he's on deck, he's going to be front of mind for the guy pitching. So yeah, he makes everybody better.
Yeah, no doubt there. You know, I'm looking at the calendar and at the clock ticking away here, and I know that we have an agreement, or where we don't have an agreement, I guess is the better way to say it. What's the latest between this whole contract of owners, players?
Well, there's going to be a lockout. Don't worry about that. At midnight tonight, I mean, we've seen a speedy and frenzy of contracts, and it's hilarious because all across baseball, there's been like $1.4 billion committed in the last 2 days or something. We saw the Buxton press conference. Texas is having a big deal. Scherzer's having a deal. GMs and owners are hugging players, and everybody's smiling, and families are being introduced. And then as of midnight tonight, they won't be able to talk to each other. Not even to say Merry Christmas. Not even to send a Happy New Year card. Not even to send a text if somebody has a baby or to show up for a player's wedding. None of that. But it's not that big a deal yet. Mm-hmm. I know it's weird, but the only time you need to start really worrying about it is if we get closer to February and there's no deal. If you're getting close to Groundhog's Day and there's no deal, now you start working backwards on the calendar and worrying about spring training and worrying about regular season games and all of that. So I just have to trust that both sides will understand how much money is at stake for both sides in this deal, the billionaires and the millionaires, and that they can recognize that a failure to come to an agreement and a losing of games due to a work stoppage entering this next season could well be a death knell for the sport in terms of its popularity. I don't know how you come back from it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, as a fan in public, why would you give baseball another chance if they messed it up? So I hope they'll take that and that they'll figure something out. But the date I'm thinking is before February.
February, boy, that'll be here before I know it. It's already December 1st today, but you know what? We'll end on the good note. Byron Buxton, he's going to be a Minnesota Twin. We're excited. Chris, I'm glad you took some time for us. Anything else before I let you go? Yeah, enjoy all that has to do.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't get a chance to talk about today, but I wonder if he worked it into his deal. One of his incentives is that his beloved Georgia Bulldogs get to play a home football game at Target Field. You know, we saw St. Thomas do it, NDSU do it. Maybe he could work in a deal where the Dogs play a game and they paint Target Field red for a football game. What do you think? Think that was in there?
Yeah, you know, if it is, more power to him. He's underpaid. Give him this. This is a little. This is an addition, right? This is a benefit, a side benefit. I'd take it. It's fun watching football. It's fun watching Twins at Target Field. It's fun watching football out there too. The way they get that thing set up. So Byron, by all means, I hope you got that signed in there as well. Chris, I'm going to let you go. You have a happy holidays, and we'll talk again next season. All right.
All right, I'll see you in Frisco.
Frisco, mark it. I'll buy the second round, all right?
Okay.
All right.
Deal.
Yeah, all right, sounds good. Our man, Chris Atterbury, studio host of your Minnesota Twins, Byron Buxton. He signed it. It's official as of today. We saw the glimmer of hope yesterday. Well, you know what? Pen to paper today. So I'm excited. I like it. It's a great deal for both sides. Your thoughts, 35270. You can call me at 237-5948. That's Lenny's studio line. More Afternoons Live right after this. Speaking of it being December 1st, you know what's Christmas shopping already underway, and if you have not bought Dakota Attitude yet, what are you waiting for? It's written by local author Jim Puppy. It's going to make the perfect gift this holiday season, and you're going to want to buy more than one because you're going to want to keep one for yourself. I know because I did just that. It's a book of the personal stories that capture the unsung heroes of every town across North Dakota, every single town. And this book is just one that you're not going to want to put down. Every coffee table in the state should have one, every cafe. You can purchase your copy at a variety of places, your local bookstore near you. You can go online to DakotaAttitude.com, and guess what? Proceeds from that book, all the sales, all of that's going to the North Dakota nursing students, and you know how much of a need there is there. Stories, again, from every small town, every large town, every medium-sized town, it's all right there. He interviewed more than 1,000 people and documented their words in 617 stories at Dakota Attitude. It's your chance to learn about the lives and learn about your town, wherever you grew up, wherever you moved to, it's all there. I mean, Jim put in the work, 113,000 miles between 2004 and 2018 to collect these stories, and they're all shared at Dakota Attitude. Get your copy at DakotaAttitude.com or wherever you buy your books.
Halverson here with another Don Hurder News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug here with the morning crew this morning. Paul Jerkins News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Force.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. Right. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out, as people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years.
Well, we got a couple of minutes before we get you caught up with KFGO News. Paul Jiggins will get you all the latest local headlines. Can you imagine working at the same place for 54 straight years? That's a tall order.
No, I can't imagine that.
54 years.
What do you and I have to make it to get that? About mid-80s.
Yeah. if we don't get fired
Yeah.
from this job.
That's what I'm saying. We'd have to make it here till mid 80s to accomplish that feat.
I guarantee you that will not be the case. Mark my words. They will not have any part of that. But my grandma Shar Axtis up at United Community Bank, 54 years today, working at the same bank up there. So congratulations out to her. I couldn't imagine 54 years, same place. It seemed like it was just yesterday we're celebrating 50.
So was this the type did you swing up there as a kid and they had the bowl full of candies when you went and said hi to grandma?
You know, and I don't remember what type of suckers. They're the ones where they have the white wrappers around.
Dum-dums? Were they dum-dums?
Yes, dum-dums. Correct. Yes, they did have those. I think every small town bank had those, right?
Yeah, they all have the bowl of candy right by the tellers.
Yeah.
Has it always been the same bank?
Yes. Well, I mean, they've changed names.
Sure.
But yeah, same bank. So, yeah, it's
wild.
Crazy. Wild. So congratulations. 54 years working at the same place. Dedication.
Yeah.
Bar none. 237-594. There's my point of personal privilege for you. What's coming up, you ask? A variety of things. I'll get back into the conversations that we were having earlier because there are some text messages about that tragic shooting that happened at a school. And, you know, for me, a 15-year-old with a 9mm, again, I have not been able to see if, in fact, the dad bought it on Black Friday at one of those gun deals for himself and the 15-year-old got his hands on it, or if he bought it for the 15-year-old. If that's the case, a 15-year-old does not need a 9mm handgun with two 15-round clips. But I mean, that's they're not going to convince me otherwise on that. And if he bought it for himself, then you have got to take the precautions to find a way to secure that firearm at your house. And there's some thoughts about that, in particular on the gun safety side. So I'll come back to that after we get you caught up with some KFGO news. We'll check back in with Rusty Halverson, who was up at Northern Egg Expo yet again today. They are closed as of 3 minutes from right now. So I hope you had to get a chance to get on up there and take in some of that. And then, you know what? We're going to tell you about a lot of other things coming up because we're going to be with you till 5 o'clock. I'll tell you about that grill and how you can win it and how you can win tickets to the Cheese Ball event going on this Friday. You got to keep it locked in right here, 790 AM and 104.7 FM, KFGO.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, you know, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
KFGO News, mostly cloudy, 52 degrees. I'm Paul Juergens. A legal battle is headed to North Dakota Supreme Court over access to thousands of documents related to the developer of the Dakota Access Pipeline and the company that oversaw security during construction. Pipeline developer Energy Transfer and a subsidiary sued the state board that regulates security firms, seeking the return of 16,000 documents. The company argues the records could present a security risk if released publicly. Separately, there's new legal action over the release of the documents to the media. An online news organization sued North Dakota last year, seeking the documents, citing the state's open records law. Reporter Laura Oak says edibles will become part of Minnesota's medical marijuana program.
Gummies and chews will be added to the list of approved cannabis delivery methods on August 1st, 2022. In March, registered patients will also be allowed to smoke cannabis following legislative approval earlier this year. The list of conditions that allows patients to use cannabis is now at 17. Health officials recently rejected a push to have anxiety disorder added to that list.
52, mostly cloudy. This is KFGO News. "52 degrees. This is KFGO News. St. Cloud woman has been charged with second-degree murder in the death of her infant. The mother is accused of stabbing her 3-month-old son, wrapping him in a plastic garbage bag, and putting him in a dumpster outside her apartment building. Police discovered the baby Sunday, along with multiple knives and bedding. A Sioux Falls man has been charged in the beating death of his 8-week-old son. Bond for 22-year-old Dylan Castamore is set at $1 million cash. Police Lieutenant Terrence Matias says the boy's injuries were severe.
The initial findings in the autopsy show that Daxton suffered from extensive skull fractures as well as broken ribs and laceration to his liver as well. All of these resulted in his death.
Police responded to a 911 call over the weekend from Castamore, who said that his son was not breathing. As ice continues to form on lakes and rivers, the Minnesota DNR is warning it is still too early in the season, and conditions can vary greatly across the state.
Give it a little bit more time. You want to see consistent days of below freezing temperatures to really get that nice solid ice before you head out on foot.
The DNR's Lisa Dugan says the minimum recommended ice thickness for walking is 4 inches, with 5 to 7 inches for a small ATV or snowmobile, 10 to 12 inches for a car or small pickup, and 12 to 15 inches for a larger truck. West Fargo Fire Chief Dan Fuller has issued a reminder for people to stay off the Cheyenne River and retention ponds. A man was arrested yesterday afternoon after he robbed a Twin Cities area bank. Cottage Grove police responded to a robbery at a Wells Fargo bank. Callers told dispatch that while the robber implied that he had a gun, he did not show one. He left the bank with cash. While police were initially told the robber might have driven off, they determined he was on foot. Police spotted the suspect about 20 minutes later. Fargo-Moorhead, mostly cloudy, scattered evening sprinkles a possibility, and about 32 for the low. Tomorrow, 41, mostly cloudy. Sprinkles, flurries possible. Friday, mostly cloudy, high of 36. Mostly cloudy, 52. Paul Juergens, News Radio, KFGO.
The master of the hour tease, Rusty Halverson, said, hey, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Next hour.
Next hour.
It's next hour, and you're back. I told you I'd save that chair for you.
Yeah. Well, last hour we were talking about Chris Novak. He's the president, CEO, Crop Life America, speaking to producers earlier today, Tyler, at Northern Ag Expo, and kind of giving a perspective of the climate on Capitol Hill, Washington, D.C., lawmakers, when it comes to pesticides, when it comes to using the right tools to grow our food and our fiber and everything that we really need. Now, Crop Life America, they try to ensure that growers and consumers have the technology they need to protect crops, communities, ecosystems from the threat of pests, weeds, diseases in an environmentally sustainable way. Okay. Now, farmers and ranchers are the original conservationists, And Novak says what we've learned over the years has improved our environment dramatically.
As a farm kid from Iowa, I've watched the evolution of farming practices on our farm. And there were the things that we knew back then, and through science and research and innovation, we had new products, new technologies. We learned how to make better use of different farming practices. The environment on my dad's farm today is much better than what it was when I was a kid. And that's because of pesticides and biotechnology and the other new tools that have become available for farmers.
We should consider ourselves lucky. Study after study has shown that America has the safest and the most affordable food supply in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line.
Bottom line, that is the bottom line, too,
Yep.
for not only us right here in the upper Midwest, but across the country.
Yep, you bet.
Very good. Russ, you appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you bet.
Tomorrow you come back now, you hear?
Is it Thursday tomorrow?
It's going to be Thursday, so we got audibles. You're going to be
Okay.
here.
With the show this week, I've kind of lost track
I
of
know.
the days.
I was just talking to It Takes Two of the crew over there. When you have a couple of days outside of the studio, you kind of lose track.
Yeah.
Plus, last week, some people had a couple of days
Yeah,
off.
a couple of days there.
We're all.
Yep.
And it's going to be that way the rest of this month, too.
Well, what the heck?
Nah. Well, maybe it'll fly by, right?
Yeah, it will.
All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, Rusty Oliver said to check out more of his work. Sarah Heinrich as well, KFGO.com. Just got to click on that agriculture tab is all you got to do. While you're there, you can also watch the show live. Watch radio. We'll have more of the show. We're only halfway there here on a Wednesday afternoon, just the peak of the week. CBS National News on the way, whatever you want to talk about. I'll get back to some of your messages about that school shooting. Also, the Ethics Commission in North Dakota in trouble. I'll give you my thoughts in just a little bit.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. Right. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
Robertson here with another Dan Hurder News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that from It Takes Two? Doug here with the morning crew this morning. Jerkins News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voice of Sports.
Too tall.
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets.
So the smart aleck text in to 35270. Tyler, clearly you hate guns. You know, there's a time in my life in which I was in politics and being a gun owner from an early age. If you're listening from the top of the show, very early age, that 20 gauge single shot. The NRA would like you to believe that. Not the case though at all. But my whole thing is with this situation, this tragedy, this, we keep coming back to this moment over and over of, what can you do to prevent it? I know there would be the side of, well, you got to have some gun control. For me, is because what we've been having the conversation with here. I mean, there's no need for a 15-year-old to ever have a 9mm handgun with a 15-round clip. There's zero. But that's what this 15-year-old used, and the reports are that his father bought it on Black Friday. So he had 4 days. Now, it hasn't been clear whether or not the father bought it for himself or for his 15-year-old son. And I haven't seen anything following that sheriff's press conference during the first hour that cleared any of that up. But for me, again, I go back to, as the parent, and if you did buy it for yourself, you got to have those safety measures in which you lock it up. And if you bought it for your son, which I think would have been a bad choice from that parent in the type of gun in which he may have bought for his son, of 15, then you have to have the rules of the house, as other people have been pointing out. I mean, I got my gun as a Christmas gift early on, but, there are rules. And we abide by those rules. But the other side of this, and this is where, again, people don't want to seem to address, or that maybe they don't have the answer, or they don't want to put the money in that's probably necessary to do this, is how someone gets in that mindset to do something like this. What is lacking in our mental health, behavioral health systems that gets to this early intervention to prevent somebody from this? Or is it disguised in such a way? I'm just generally asking here. Because there is that side that, because even if, as 15, as someone else pointed out in the text club, that, look, if you're 15, you probably could find a way to do this. Never once did a lot of people, or probably 98% of you, ever think that you wanted to do this. But for that percentage that had that thought creep in their mind, what can we do to address that? And I'm not saying that this is something that's on the schools. There's already so much on these school systems. And tragically, you're hearing that some of these behavioral challenges are happening at a much younger age. I mean, we're talking elementary school, in which you've got students acting out. What can we do there? I don't know. It's going to take money. It's going to take the conversation to actually get there. Say, okay, now we can have the conversation of, we need to have this service available in areas across the country, not just in the metros. I mean, this town, I know we've had the conversation of, what's a big town, what's a small town. I think this town that was 30 miles north of Detroit is only about 3,500 people. That's not, a large town, larger than what many of us grew up in. The services need to be available there for those that have ever even thought of this. But if in fact he bought it, the father is, for his son, then what responsibility is on the parent? And I ask that again because when the Kyle Rittenhouse trial was going on, a lot of you were saying, well, his mother shouldn't have driven him there. And you're right, should not have driven him there, but she did. And you were saying she's got to have some responsibility there. Well, in this case, I would have to say the same thing goes. More of those details hopefully will be coming out as to whether or not he bought it. I think it's an important question. And this is another opportunity to remind everyone else that if you have firearms, have the rules set, have the safety, have them stored in a way of which people cannot access them. It was just a couple of days ago here in Fargo, a child brought a gun that was loaded to school here too. Thankfully, nothing happened. It was, tragically, was it in the cities? the Twin Cities just earlier this week, in which you had a 13-year-old, and I'm not sure the exact age, but a child ended up dead because they were doing a social media post in which a child had a loaded handgun. I mean, you have got to take the responsibility as a gun owner, of which many of you are, and I'm including myself there, to lock it up, store it in a way to where it's just not easily accessed by a young person. That's included a 15-year-old. That's included an elementary, all the way. I mean, even if you have, not necessarily the case as much now, but it was certainly back during the recession, where you got adults back living at home. I mean, this is just gun safety 101, and yet for whatever reason, we keep seeing headlines that somebody grabbed the gun that should not have had access to that gun inside of that home. Tyler, I started going hunting with my dad at age 12 and 13. I had a BB gun and went to the JC's gun safety at Fargo Airport National Guard building. I went through gun safety there at age 14. I started duck hunting with my dad and deer hunting with him in the fall. Yeah, and there's a lot of people that probably that echo that. I mean, what is gun safety or hunter safety? What is it, 6th grade? I'm trying to think back. That was a long time ago. I can remember the inside of the classroom that I took hunter safety in. I just don't remember the age. But I would encourage anybody that has any interest, or even not, just the safety aspect, the training is well worth a couple of weekends or a couple of weeknights to learn the safety aspect of these things that are all around. We'll continue the conversation. I'll get you a weather update from Too Tall Tom Szymanski. More messages coming in. I'll get to all those. I do want to also talk about this Ethics Commission in North Dakota. Plus, there's an event coming up this Friday. I've got tickets I want to give you in the final hour, which is the 4 o'clock hour of Afternoons Live. Stick around.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Person here with another Don Hurder at your News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen, Couch
790.
Potato Radio. Did you see that from It Takes Two? Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. Jerkins News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voice of Sports.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah
7.
Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We got a Facebook.
For it. This brings me back to some high school proms, some snowball dances. Was the snowball dance really just the Valentine's dance? I don't remember.
I don't think we ever had a specific snowball dance, but yeah, I would say it's got to be winter sometime.
Yeah, so it makes sense for it to be the Valentine.
I mean, the big named ones.
What time's homecoming?
Homecoming's usually fall.
Yeah, so you have homecoming.
Something in the winter. Prom's usually in the spring. I think ours was most of the time in April-ish. Mid to late April.
Prom is in the April. That's so yeah, it has to be. Because you have the breaks all through here, so you don't have a dance in December. It's got to be around Valentine's Day.
Yep.
Because it wasn't a sweetheart ball; it was
the snowball
dance. We were clever. We were real clever.
Yeah, I don't even think we named ours at Northern Cass. I think it was just the school dance. Nope. Yeah, not creative enough.
Let's just didn't have the smarts for it. We just said, hey, let's have a dance and call it the school dance.
Yep.
Okay.
School dance. Everybody show up, line the walls because you're too cool to actually get out on the dance floor.
And men on one side, females on the other.
Yep. Soon as a slow song starts, then you start pairing off.
Were you ever the one to instigate that broke down that awkward? Okay, well, I'm going to make the move.
No, that was never me.
I don't know that it was me either.
It was always the kid in your class that had that false air of confidence. Everyone had a classmate like that.
I hope, but here's the thing.
Or if you didn't have a classmate like that, then you were.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm like, who in my class would that have been? There's only 16 of us. And if I can't single out who it was I that guy?
Yeah, you might have been. The evidence supports it.
Yeah. Given my role.
If you went to high school with Tyler and are listening and can text, you can let us know if he was that guy.
I prefer text because then I can filter it a little bit better. 35270 is how you can send that in. I'm not even going to give you the Laney studio line number right now. Here's what's coming up. We got another hour with you. And in fact, you just heard a promo. Let's just take the opportunity right now to tell you about it instead of wait for another half hour. You just heard, hey, if you text grill to 35270, we got a Traeger grill that we're giving from us to you. You can't win if you don't play. You can't play if you don't text grill to 35270. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to get registered for a chance to win that Traeger, and we're going to have a party to do it. A bunch of finalists. We'll tell you if you're a finalist. December 9th, which is next Thursday, if my calendar skills are intact. Next Thursday At 5 o'clock, we're going to be heading over to Bar 9 in West Fargo. The 9th at 9. And we're going to be given, not the 9th green at 9. You're going to have bad time if you do that. Bar 9 at 9 on the December 9th. We're going to give you, a chance to come out, cut loose, have some fun, and an opportunity to win that Traeger grill. So if you text that in right now, don't put my word in there or put my name in there first. Tyler, how many times can you register? You can register a lot, but you only need to register once.
Yeah,
because we're going to filter out if you text in grill 30 times, only one of them is going to count.
Yeah, we're going to pile every entrant into the drawing for the finalists. We'll contact them next week. We'll let the finalists know. I think we're going to be in around 100 finalists. Yeah, we're going to contact.
Give or take. Depends on how generous I'm feeling. It is the holiday season.
I think there'll be a sign-up day of, too, if you want to come see Tyler.
We'll see. Don't get ahead of ourselves here.
But you got to be present to win. So you got to come to a party. We're going to force you to come to a party at a bar.
Yeah. And don't be all down about it because we're going to have a great time. 21 to enter. So if you're getting your 18, 19, 20-year-old friend to be texting in grill, going to have a bad time. Got to be 21 to enter, 21 to win. 21 to come on over to Bar 9 and party with us on December 9th. Lots of people texting. Appreciate it. We're going to have a fun time. Even if you don't want a chance to win a grill, you're still invited. Come on over. We'll have a great time over there. I'll be doing the show from there, I do believe, earlier on as well. So more details on that a little bit later on. I'm going to give you the details. Well, not me. Dan Hurder is going to give you details about the cheese ball event. I was talking about the snowball. Let's talk about a cheese ball event. I got some tickets to give away here at the 4 o'clock hour. More Afternoons Live right after this.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of independence.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, And when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Robertson here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Dear
Mighty
Kansas
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug here with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Force.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah
7.
Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
It is 4:05. It's time for your fact checker at 4. We're going to clear up some misunderstandings that might be found on your social media accounts. Here is today's claim of a fact checker. A child yelled, "Shut the fill in the blank on your own. This is a family-friendly show. I'm not going to do that. A child yelled at First Lady Jill Biden as she read a story during a Christmas celebration. That is the claim. I have seen it on my own social media, which is why I looked it up.
Seen the claim. That does, I mean, depending on the age of kids, that does seem like something that a little kid might parrot without knowing what it means.
Yeah, this day and age, you have grown blank men
Yep.
do the same thing.
Yes.
That's the discourse we've got these days.
So I'm going to say it did happen.
It did not happen.
Good.
That is false. No child yelled, "Shut the..." Gotta be careful.
Well, yeah, no child yelled an obscenity at the First Lady.
First Lady Jill Biden as she read story during Christmas. So don't share that on your Snapchats, as I've saw, or on Facebook or on Twitter. Anywhere, don't share it, don't like it, because you know what? It's not even real. That's your fact checker at 4. Let's get you caught up with Paul Jurgens in the KFGO News Center. When we come back, we're going to tell you about the Cheese Ball event. That's going on this Friday downtown. We'll tell you about that next.
It is mostly cloudy, 52. Early damage estimates for a fire late last night at a seed potato warehouse in Larimore, North Dakota, are $2 million. The Grand Forks County Sheriff's Office and Larimore Fire Department responded to the blaze at Hoverson Farms. Employees said they heard an electrical problem, had a problem with equipment about an hour before the call. The warehouse contained potato seed and equipment, including a new truck and a new skid steer loader. The cause is under investigation. Medical marijuana patients in Minnesota will be allowed to use edibles next summer. The Department of Health will approve THC gummies and chews as a new medical cannabis delivery method on August 1st. The rulemaking process will begin this month. The state's medical cannabis program is now limited to pills, oils, liquids, and lozenges. Health Commissioner Jan Malcolm says expanding the options will mean more choices for patients who cannot tolerate current forms of medical marijuana. Patients will be eligible for cannabis buds and flowers next March. Prosecutors and attorneys for the suburban Minneapolis police officer charged in Dante Wright's shooting death have now seated 9 of the 14 jurors needed for her trial, including a woman who said she owns both a gun and a stun gun. Kim Potter is charged with manslaughter. Potter has said she meant to use her taser on Wright when he pulled away from officers, but she shot him with her handgun by mistake. Bismarck State College is outlining its plans for a new Polytechnic Education Center. During its November special session, the legislature approved $38 million in American Recovery Plan Act money for the center. BSC President Doug Jensen.
The state-of-the-art Polytechnic Center will feature non-traditional, hands-on, collaborative working environments, flex labs where industry and business can partner on developing projects and ideas, space for collaboration and industry partners to operate and to build new programming, new equipment, and to advance applied research in that area.
Governor Doug Burgum says education must be more responsive to workplace needs and more responsive to signals from the private sector.
If the private sector is sending signals that we need more nurses, we need more power plant operators, we need more folks that understand advanced material science, we need more UAS operators. You name all the fields we have. We need schools that are helping provide those career paths for our young people.
Bismarck State plans to break ground on the building next year with a completion date of 2024. Fargo-Moorhead mostly cloudy overnight, scattered evening sprinkles, about 32 for the overnight low. We are at 52 at our KFGO studios. It is high at our South Fargo studios this afternoon. Mostly cloudy, maybe some sprinkles, flurries, and tomorrow 41, 36, mostly cloudy Friday. Again, it is mostly cloudy and 52. Paul Jurgens, News Radio, KFGO.
There's always something cool going on in the downtown metro area. And you know, the place that always tells us and gives you $25 to go out and enjoy some of that at the Boiler Room is Dan Hurder. And that's exactly where we're going to tell you about what's going on. A unique event that we want to send you to. And here to explain that is none other than Dan Hurder joining us right now. How are you doing, Dan?
Good. How are you doing today?
Doing well. It's Wednesday. That feels like a Thursday, but that's okay. I'll get over it here because you know what? It's almost that 5 o'clock punch out. But I'm eager.
We're halfway through.
Yeah, we're there. We're getting there. And people are looking at Friday saying, you know what, I've been hearing about this Cheese Bowl event. I want tickets. And I've got tickets to go. But for those that haven't heard about this event, give them a taste of what this is all about.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome event. We're excited about it. We're working, so Urban Foods Catering, which is based out of the Armory Event Center in Moorhead, brand new event center, has partnered with Milkmaid Catering to host the first annual holiday cheese ball. And it was kind of a harebrained idea that her and I had and worked together on. But it's a pretty awesome lineup. We've got, if you're familiar with Milkmaid, she does a concept called grazing tables, which are absolutely stunning. She brings in really cool, unique cheeses from all over the country, all over the world. So we'll have 6 different grazing tables, each one featuring a different rare holiday release cheese. And then we have worked with Small Lots Wines out of Minnesota, and they are doing a wine pairing with each of those cheeses. And that just gets the evening started. So after those 6 pairings, we're going to sit down and do a 3-course dinner by Urban Foods Catering. And each one of those courses is also cheese-centric. So this event is definitely for the cheese lovers. And then we'll wrap the evening up with some different desserts and music from Warren Christensen.
A whole evening right there. And I got to tell you, I'm a cheese fanatic. So you would count me and probably see me there this Friday. And it's going to be at 6 o'clock is where you're going to start. And you're going all the way through the night. You got entertainment. We were just coincidentally talking about the snowball dances back in our junior high days. But yeah, we got a cheese ball. I like what you guys did there coming up. Plus, I mean, you guys have a raffle as well. I know that you got the wine and cheese raffle. There's so much to take in at this event. It's pretty much what it is. It sounds it's unique.
Yeah. There's a thanks for mentioning that. You know, there is a charitable component of the evening as well. We're working with Heart and Soul Cafe. They're going to have their brand new trailer out there. So they're going to talk a little bit about their program. We do have a wine and cheese pull, $25. You'll get to pull a bag. It's going to have a wine and cheese pairing that you get to take home. All of those proceeds go to Heart and Soul Cafe. So we're excited to work with them as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's a unique event. It's great. It's just, come together like this. And one thing when you talk about, you've got the new venue, you've got the catering service that you guys have just blowing up. Everyone's talking about all these unique things. And guess what? It's all going to be in one convenient location. It's going to be this Friday from 6 to 11. Dan, is there anything about this event that I missed? Because we're going to send people there. I've got some tickets in my hand. I'm going to be getting them out here.
Yeah.
Right
if a listener is not lucky enough to win some of the tickets you guys are giving away, they can get tickets at Milkmaid's website, milkmaid.com/shop. And she's got a couple things on there, so you do have to find the event. You can also order her cheese platters on there. But milkmaid.com/shop is where you can get tickets for the event.
Very good. We'll get that on the podcast for this very interview as well, so people can just click right away there. Dan, I appreciate your time, man. We'll get people out there, and don't be surprised if you see Eric or I show up as well. So
sounds good. Looking forward to it.
All right, thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. Right. Dan Hurder, he's one of the main guys putting all this together. You've heard he's been unique in the fact that he's put together those bundles that we used to give you as well. Those things are flying off the KFGO shelves. Also, the Boiler Room, $25 in a gift card. That's going to be on Friday. Today, if you and a friend or a family member want to go to the Cheese Ball 2021. That's this Friday, 904 Center Avenue, Moorhead. Starts at 6 o'clock. You dance your heart out all the way to 11 o'clock with wine, cheese, desserts, plus there's some charity events. If you are caller number 5 to 237-5948, we will send you and a friend over there on a Friday afternoon/evening. Caller number 5, 237-5948. As you are dialing in, we're going to kick it out to Barnesville and visit with our own Derek Hansen. Derek, take it away, man.
All right, thank you guys. Yes, I'm here. Front Street in Barnesville. We locals call it Main Street still. Nothing ever changes. Speaking of that Main Street, hey, we got Bailey Thompson with us. How you doing?
Doing well, Derek. Thanks.
Yeah, what an exciting night here. A lot of the businesses staying open.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, Volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out, as people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
So today on the MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down.
This Friday again, 6 p.m. to 11 over at the Moorhead Armory. So be listening. Got another pair coming your way. I'm going to take this moment just to briefly talk about this ethics commission in North Dakota. You voted for it. You created it. You said it's about time. Lawmakers, get off your duff. You got to get this, and if you're not going to do it for yourself, we'll do it for you. That's exactly what happened. Now, to help get that passed, in which there was a lot of work and there was a lot of anger from a lot of powerful people in North Dakota, trust me, they weren't having a good time because they knew they were losing. They knew they were losing the public opinion on this because all the self-patting on the back saying, hey, we don't do anything wrong here in North Dakota once you elect us, we're seeing right through that. Now they're trying to punish you for passing and creating that. I mean, they're trying to create more limitations, just as South Dakota, when we were talking yesterday with Matt, Schwim, I cannot pronounce his name. What is
Schweik.
It? Schweik. Why would it say Shimnick?
Like you smashed together a Schwinn and a bike.
There's Shimnicks up in Devil's Lake. They're saying, hey, that's why.
Schweik.
Thanks. You always got my backpack.
I got you.
Not all the time. Sometimes. Most of the time. 90% of the
Well,
time.
unless there's a good comedic opportunity, then I'm going to take it.
Fair, and I don't fault you for that. But it's getting derailed here. South Dakota, you were having the same conversation yesterday that you've got these changes. You had something, I don't know if it was unprecedented, but it was certainly eye-catching, jaw-dropping, hair-pulling frustration that you had voters in South Dakota create the ability to have recreational pot. And the governor of South Dakota didn't like it. So Kristi Noem found the Highway Patrol, put their name on it. They filed a lawsuit, and the Supreme Court of South Dakota said, yeah, sure, we can't allow this because of all these gray areas, which from a common sense standpoint was a bunch of bull. So there's a tax on the initiated measure down there. The same thing's happening in North Dakota. It's happening elsewhere as well, but in North Dakota, it's all directed primarily to this ethics commission that you created because they wouldn't do it. So you're going to have, if you do it for yourself or do it to yourself, is what I should say, you're going to have the final say on most of this because it's in the Constitution of what is allowed for you to make changes. Don't shoot yourself in the foot when it comes to that if this does come on the ballot. But the other thing that's going on, in particular with this ethics commission, is the way of which it was passed. You allowed for the rules process to play itself out to where, all right, we're not going to deem exactly A, B, or C. Certainly there was some of that in there that was included in this saying, oh, we want this. We want to prohibit that. We will allow this. You did pass some of that, but not all of it. You allowed just enough wiggle room for lawmakers. They had to fund it. I don't think they funded it to the best of what it could be because, you know what, if you don't have the funding there, how much work can you really get done? So you have that. But you also have the measure that's going on right now, and the discussion is really about conflicts of interest and what is deemed a conflict of interest when it comes to your state government. And the gray area right now that we are hearing about is the fact that the commission doesn't want to include campaign contributions to certain entities as a potential conflict of interest. So let me give you a prime example here, because this is exactly where it is. Say you are the Attorney General of North Dakota, you're Wayne Stenjum. You got done flying all over the country, you could probably spend more time outside of the state than actually in the tower in Bismarck there. You're taking all your trips paid for by A, B, or C. Perhaps in one case, it's an oil industry. There's an oil convention somewhere, so, let's get the North Dakota's Attorney General down here. We'll put him up in the hotel room. We'll pay for his meals, the hotel stay, the conference. He can come and partake if he wants, but at least he knows that we gave him a trip. And we gave him a meal. We gave him lodging. Gave him a little vacation. Let's say we're having this in Hawaii. Lots of oil's drilling going on there, right? But it'll just be comfortable. So let's say that happened. And then that company, that hypothetical company that just flew the Attorney General out to Hawaii for a week's conference, then all of a sudden in a couple months' time has business before the Industrial Commission of which the Attorney General sits. And if you do not declare publicly all this going on and dive into whether or not, you were just on a week's trip. You can call it a conference. We can say it was a vacation. We don't know. We weren't there. We weren't invited because we weren't the Attorney General in North Dakota. But to have the transparency's sake of how that deliberation goes before the Industrial Commission and what that final outcome is, that's where this whole debate is happening. And whether or not the public should have easy access to that information and whether or not the Attorney General would have to recuse himself or at least declare that, hey, there's a conflict of interest here because I just was in Hawaii like a couple weeks ago because these guys put me up in the penthouse suite at that hotel, the beachfront property there. Well, right now, the Ethics Commission is basically declaring that whole interaction would not be deemed as a conflict of interest if that company then comes and has any information or any pending decision before the Industrial Commission. I think that reading of it is narrow. I think it's wrong because I think transparency, what you wanted, what you expected when you created the Ethics Commission was to have that information, to make sure that all these decisions are in fact done in an ethical manner, that there's not any persuasion, there's not any lobbying that's maybe a roundabout way of influencing these decisions. And right now, they're not getting to where I think many of you voted for, overwhelmingly voted for. So now is where you got to step up again. It's not going to come from a vote, but it's going to come from your email. It's going to come from a phone call to the Ethics Commission saying, what are you guys doing here? And the way I understand the way it's coming out right now is to nothing against necessarily the Ethics Commission members. I don't know them. I know the process in which they got onto the commission, which was to get appointed by the governor and by the Senate majority and minority leader. So it was bipartisan. I've got quite a bit of respect for those three individuals that currently hold those titles as well. But those members are there. They are working on behalf of you. They're a constitutional commission because you created them. They have their job because you voted this commission in. And they need to hear from you right now. But the way of which this whole reading, the way I understand it, is coming from an interpretation brought by the Attorney General's office. So if in fact that is the way this is rolling out, that the Attorney General says this, well, that in of itself to me is a conflict of interest because you're barring now decisions and the transparency of anything that might be impacted and interpreted of the work you're doing in your other roles as Attorney General. So that's why they need to hear from you. And you can go to the Ethics Commission website. You can leave your comment there. Say, look, we voted this in. We just want as much transparency because the brighter the light shines on the state government, your local government, the better government you get through your tax dollars all in the long run, the short term, all of the above. But if you don't, they're going to continue. I mean, if you don't comment, they're going to continue to find these little areas of which there's enough wiggle room that you created in this that they're going to take advantage of it. They'll continue to lack the funding for it. They'll continue to find these ways to where they don't get the transparency in the rules because it wasn't in the constitutional measure. And they'll keep doing this until there's a lawsuit. And that's where if this keeps going the way of which it appears to be, and if they don't pull back because of your comments, I would not be shocked if there's going to be a lawsuit about what's done because it's in the Constitution. Because of you. You voted it in. So you got to do the dirty work now, or not the dirty work, the responsible work, and just make the phone call, send the appropriate email saying, hey, come on. This is a conflict of interest. These dollars do influence decisions. The public has a right to know about all of it. Your thoughts at 35270. You can also call the Laney studio line 237-5948. Toll free is 1-800-880-5346. Final half hour, I got another pair of tickets to that cheese ball event I'll give away. Whatever else you want to talk about, I'm here for you. I'm Tyler Axis. This is Afternoons Live on KFGO.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of independence.
Here with another Dan Hurder News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that from It Takes Two? Doug here with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house.
KFGO News, mostly cloudy, still 52. I'm Paul Jurgens. The Minnesota Department of Health will not add anxiety disorders as a qualifying condition for medical marijuana, unlike North Dakota and 3 other states. State Health Commissioner Jan Malcolm says there's not enough scientific evidence of benefits of medical cannabis when compared to the possibility of unintended consequences. North Dakota added anxiety disorder in 2019 when it became the most commonly cited condition. Minnesota will add edibles in the form of gummies and chews to a list of approved products that includes pills, vapor oil, liquids, topicals, powdered mixtures, and lozenges. As ice continues to form on lakes and rivers, the Minnesota DNR is warning it is still early in the season, and conditions can vary greatly across the state. The DNR's Lisa Dugan.
Give it a little bit more time. You want to see consistent days of below freezing temperatures to really get that nice solid ice before you head out on foot.
Dugan says the minimum recommended ice thickness for walking is 4 inches, with 5 to 7 inches for a small ATV or snowmobile, 10 to 12 inches for a car or small pickup, and 12 to 15 inches for a larger truck. West Fargo Fire Chief Dan Fuller has issued a reminder for people to stay off the Cheyenne River and retention ponds. 52, this is KFGO News. .52, this is KFGO News. Fargo will host a ribbon cutting for its first city-owned electric vehicle charger tomorrow. Mayor Mahoney and Xcel Energy North Dakota Principal Manager Tony Grinberg will provide comments before the Fargo-Moorhead West Fargo Chamber of Commerce ambassadors initiate the ribbon cutting at 9 at Fargo City Hall. The city has been working with Xcel to complete this grant-funded project. The EV charger will supply electrical power for charging plug-in electric vehicles, including hybrid cars and trucks. A legal battle is headed to the North Dakota Supreme Court over access to thousands of documents related to the developer of the Dakota Access Pipeline and the company that oversaw security during construction. Pipeline developer Energy Transfer and a subsidiary sued the state board that regulates security firms, seeking the return of 16,000 documents. The company argues the records could present a security risk if released publicly. Separately, there's a new legal challenge over release of the documents to the media. An online news organization sued North Dakota last year, seeking the documents, citing the state's open records law. For the second year in a row, MnDOT is hosting a Name a Snowplow contest. Through December 15th, you can submit up to 3 snowplow name ideas online. It'll be sorted into a pool of 50 finalists. Voting will take place in January. MnDOT says each submission is limited to 30 characters, including spaces. Politically inspired names will not be considered. Ideas can be submitted online at MnDOT's website. Last year, there were 8 winning snowplow names for each maintenance district in the state. 2 of the favorites were Plow Bunyan and Snowby Wankanobi. KFGO Weather Center forecast. Meteorologist Tom Shavansky is expecting mostly cloudy conditions tonight. Maybe some sprinkles, nothing indicated on radar near Fargo-Moorhead now. 32 for the overnight low. 41 tomorrow, a mostly cloudy day, possible sprinkles or flurries. And Friday, 36, mostly cloudy. Fargo-Moorhead, mostly cloudy. It is 51 degrees. Paul Jurgens, News Radio, KFGO.
KFGO time is 4:34, fast approaching 4:35. We're going to check in with Derek Hansen out in Barnesville yet again in just a little bit. But you know what? This Friday, there's that cheese ball event. We already gave Lucas his opportunity to go with a friend or family. 6 o'clock Friday to 11 o'clock if you choose to dance your night away. These are pretty valuable tickets, by the way. I found out how much, So you're going to want to get to be caller number Well, let's say 7 this time. 237-5948. You and a friend or a family member or a loved one, however you want to put it, can go on down to 904 Center Avenue, Moorhead this Friday. Caller number 7-237-5948. Phone line's blowing up. Get you caught up with CBS National News. Final half hour underway right here on KFGO.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Roberson here with another Don Hurder News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that from It Takes Two? Doug here with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Too tall. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Access for your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out, as people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk.
Kirk. You and a friend, loved one, whoever, just as long as you're filling both tickets, are going to the Cheese Bowl event this Friday over in Moorhead, 6 o'clock to, as long as you want to keep dancing, is what I hear. All right, so help me through this, because I cut the cord, the cable, whatever, during the move, so I stream if I'm watching. Now, of course, I always have KFGO on in the background. But so It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia has their 15th season starting tonight, episode 1 and 2. So that's my go-to. That's like my favorite show. So I wanted to go stream a couple of episodes from last season just to kind of get a feel. Not that they necessarily are, a long story. So if you've never watched, you can watch dang near any episode. There'll be some plot points. You're going to want to watch the whole thing. The longest running sitcom now at 15 seasons. Starting tonight. But as I was scrolling through the service I have, for whatever reason, they have themes out there. Like right now, it's the holidays. Hey, maybe you want to kick back and watch a holiday flick.
Sure.
That makes sense. What didn't make sense is the fact that it directed me to a Nicolas Cage, like a whole line of Nicolas Cage movies.
Yeah.
Why is that a thing now?
Well, I mean, there's some rabid Nick Cage fans. I think he had a movie come out last year. But yeah, why an entire
2 or 3? Yeah, a whole series. Like there was a Nick Cage whole page. All the Nick Cage movies. Probably the one that I was on that plane with too.
Right.
Going up to Alaska.
Yeah,
I
we
could have been an extra.
We figured out what it was, but I forget what the title is now.
I don't remember either.
I believe it was based on a true story serial killer deal. I think.
I don't recall that. I just recall sitting next to the sound guy and said, "Hey, come on over. You can party."
You could have partied with Nick Cage, and you blew it.
I did. I was a young child back then.
That
I was
would have
21. I was over 21. It would have been fun, but
yeah, that would have been a story you told.
Take a random number from the guy sitting next to you on the plane from Fargo through Minneapolis all the way up to Anchorage, Alaska. A guy's like, "Hey, I'm going up to do the sound of a Nick Cage movie. Here's my number. You can give me a call. We'll party later." Would you call that number?
So, probably not. No, probably not.
Nor did I.
But it is one of those scenarios where the story is so absurd that you kind of want to follow it through to the end a little bit.
Yeah, but
don't you?
I've seen movies of people following through.
Yeah, I mean, a public place. You don't go back to that person's hotel room for the drink.
The movie Hostel, for example.
Yes.
I'm in a part of the country I've never been before, up in beautiful Anchorage, Alaska, which if you have not been, do yourself a favor and go.
So based on vast knowledge and research, in that scenario, meet in a public place, order bottles of beer so that you can watch the bartender open it, and then just don't let anyone have it.
Yeah.
And you're relatively safe.
Fair enough.
And you end up partying with Nick Cage, a story that you would still be telling to this day.
I've been trying to allude to I was so close. I was one phone call away from potentially. There was other big stars. Wasn't John Cusack in that movie also?
Yeah, I believe he was. And I feel like there was another one. And now I just want to Google it.
I know, I can't tell you what the title of the movie was because I don't remember. I remember us having an epiphany here because somebody texted in saying, "Tyler, I watched that Nicolas Cage movie and I actually enjoyed it."
The Frozen Ground. That did star Nick Cage, John Cusack, and Vanessa Hudgens.
Vanessa Hudgens.
Yes.
What
50
year?
Cent.
What year? 50. Oh, yeah, 50 Cent. I forgot. Yeah, G-Unit would have been there as well. The entire ensemble of G-Unit.
2013,
which is Gangster Unit. If you don't recall.
it came out.
13.
It came out, which means it was filming most likely in 12.
Yep, and you know what? I was 26 at the time.
Uh-huh.
That's prime time, baby. 26 years young, you go up to Anchorage, Alaska, you party with Nick Cage, John Cusack, 50 Cent.
Fitty. You could have been in the club with Fitty.
What could have been? Missed opportunities. No, I'm not gonna get to the point of the show where I say, "Hey, don't take what we say in this is a moment."
If you ever have an opportunity, if you're of age and have an opportunity to party with Nick Cage, 50 Cent, and John Cusack, take it.
Yeah,
take it. I'm going to say, do what we say and take that opportunity.
You'll live a life of regret, especially when you are streaming your services and you see a whole category of Nicolas Cage movies. I'm gonna have to go find that, see what could have been. How many stars? What's the star rating? Did you check? Are you on IMDb?
It is. Yeah, it's 61% on Rotten Tomatoes, 37 on Metacritic. IMDb gives it a 6.4 out of 10. So not great.
You know, with those star-studded names, that surprises me a little bit. I mean, this is post-peak Nicolas Cage. What was the last great movie of Nicolas Cage?
Well, define great.
Well,
because
the National Treasure.
Yeah, National Treasures were good. Con Air is great, but not because it's a great movie.
That was before National Treasure, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the National Treasure series. Well, what? There was 2 or 3. That was like the last big. They weren't blockbusters, but they were the last big movie.
Yeah.
That were actually like showing in theaters, not straight to whatever streaming service or straight to the B-rate, checkout line.
Yeah, I mean, if you enjoyed it, maybe Ghost Rider. The Ghost Rider.
Nobody enjoyed Ghost Rider.
Okay.
Not even Marvel fans enjoyed Ghost Rider. Do you see that they want to get Keanu Reeves? They're petitioning for him to be the next Ghost Rider in the Marvel universe.
Okay. I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to do it well when it's a guy riding a motorcycle with a flaming skull for a head.
Oh, that's the thing. That's the line for you. Of all the things that you've watched in Marvel movies, that's the thing. Guy's got a skull flaming head.
Oh, you know what? I've got an answer to the last great role he had, because he played noir Spider-Man in the Into the Spider-Verse animated movie.
Yep.
That was a great movie.
That was good. I thought of, you were going to say he was the dad in another comic book movie that we don't want to say the name of.
Oh, yep. That was a fantastic one.
That was a good movie as well.
That was a fantastic one.
Tyler City of Angels was his only good movie. What? Come on. Show some respect for Nicolas Cage.
You've clearly never seen Raising Arizona.
I have absolutely seen
the
Raising
Texter, if he's going to not include that in great Nick Cage movies. That
was a great mustache back.
Yep.
Sorcerer's Apprentice. Never seen that one. Comes in at 35%.
I don't know that one either. Yeah, I'm just looking through his. I mean, he's been in about 400 movies.
You know that there was a potential that he was going to be Superman back in the day?
Yeah, there was a screen test where you can see him in a Superman costume, and it is weird because he still has long hair. It's obviously just a costume test, not a full makeup test, and it looks unusual.
Yeah, it would not have been ideal for Nicolas Cage to be Superman. Okay, well, that kind of got off track, and we're already looking at the weather update.
Yeah.
Wednesday afternoon. In fact, you know who's working harder than me right now? Derek Hansen, where you can find him in Barnesville. In fact, is he going to be broadcasting from out there?
I think he might.
Or is he driving back here?
We're
going to find out together live?
Yeah, we can find out together.
Organized here on a Wednesday afternoon. Let's get you that weather update from Truth Tall Tom Szymanski. We'll wrap up Afternoons Live. Thankfully, many of you are saying next right after this.
Roberson here with another Don Hurder News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. JJ Gordon from It Takes Two. Doug here with the morning crew this morning. Paul Jerkins News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voice of Sports.
Too tall, Tom.
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of independence.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. At North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enigson, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors, basically. A lot of it right now,
He'll be taking the Drive Time News out there, plus, you know what, he's got some more activities he's going to tell you about. Tomorrow, Thursday edition of Afternoons Live, we will check in with Paul Allen, the voice of your Minnesota Vikings. We had a week off last week because of obviously Thanksgiving, and ultimately, you know what, we didn't get a chance to brag about the win over Green Bay. And now we're going to talk about the loss to the 49ers of last week. So get you prepared for this coming matchup as well. Also, we'll have Spencer Worth, the Meat Dude. We got Tanner Cherney, Devil's Eye Tourism. And yes, Audible is brought to you by Don's Car Wash. That and more coming up tomorrow. But before I leave you today, let's go out to Barnesville and see if we can connect with Derek Hansen, who is out there. Derek, do I have you loud and clear, buddy?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Probably not having quite as much fun as you are out in Barnesville. What's going on?
Well, it's pretty nice here. They got sorry. Facebook Live just jumped on my there. Yeah, we got a lot of businesses open. We're going to be lighting the Christmas tree coming up here at 6 o'clock, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll do the Drive Time News right here on Front Street. That's how simple this is.
So I've been hearing the promos for this. That was recorded by our very own voice of the sports, Jack Michaels here.
Yeah.
Are you dressed as an elf?
No. It's just, I think our salesperson and the copy department like that a little fun with me, So pretty much how it goes. If I'm elf, I mean, I'm telling you, Will Ferrell's got nothing on me as far as looking overgrown in some type of apparel like that. So no, that's not happening. But thanks for being concerned about that.
Well, I was just curious because if you're Facebook Live right now, I wanted to go over and pop over to Facebook. I assume KFGO's Facebook, or are you doing this on your personal right now?
KFGO's, but then I kind of get interrupted by you guys doing this, so now I got to delete that one, start over. But that's fine. You hear that? Yeah, I got to delete that. Yeah. That's how that goes.
Okay, so now you've thrown me and Eric under the bus. You've thrown our sales team under the bus. You just wait till tomorrow. You're going to get paid back here, buddy.
Well, that's something new around there. So I'll be sure to make sure I look where I sit tomorrow in my office. That's for sure. Yeah, no. But it's beautiful. I mean,
well, there you go. We're going to just check in with Derek later on because I can't even hear him right now. He's going to be in Barnesville. Drive Time News coming up. Couch Potato Radio. That's at 6 o'clock. Hennessy on Hockey. Coast to Coast later on. Your KFGO evening lineup. Barnesville. He's going to be on Facebook Live because then you can just watch some of that is what I'm anticipating. You've got the stream up back there. I've got nothing on this side of the room.
It's technology. Yeah, we're working through. We're trying some new things over here. We're trying them on the fly.
The live radio, I gotta love that. You know what's funny? Because somebody congratulated my grandmother for 54 years working at the bank, and somebody goes, "God, imagine the technology change in that industry." And then you think about just wherever it is you've been working, whether it's on the farm, truck driving, this in radio. I said you can watch this right now. I'm looking at the camera. They can do on YouTube Live, or you can just go to KFGO. I mean, the technology for every field has changed so much in any given industry. So, yeah, we're trying that now, right? As Paul Line sits down. You got to deal with this for the next hour. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So he's out there he's doing the Christmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing what else?
Well,
a variety of things.
Many things, including sports, I guess, and a whole lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
that
you're
we're
going to
gonna
be.
be
Can you hear me now?
Is what it's going to be.
I hope so. Yeah, you never know with Derek though.
Yeah, try your hardest.
Right.
They love him out there. They can have him a little bit longer.
Yeah, but
well.
we also got the usual crutches we have during the 5 o'clock hour. Joel Heitkamp with another ride. Also, sports weather with Too Tall Tom Szymanski and Rusty Halverson with the Ag News. That and a whole lot more coming up during the Drive Time News Hour. Then Couch Potato Radio at 6 o'clock with Derek Hansen, and then 6:30 we got Hennessy on hockey.
Very good. Hockey's been kind of hot lately as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, both with UND and then the Minnesota Wild. What are they? Rocking out. Are they number 1 right now?
They are, and they won last night too, 5-2 over a not great Arizona team. But
so you got the Wild, and I mean the Timberwolves have been playing pretty good basketball as well, from what I've been gathering right here on KFGO. And now we've got the NBA. So there, and quite frankly, the Vikings aren't out of the playoff contention yet either. So there's a lot to be hopeful for, including the whole Byron Buxton situation that we were telling you about with Chris Atterbury earlier on today. I tell you what, we got a full lineup for you tomorrow, Friday. There's a couple of things I'm going to tell you about Friday's show as well. We got FCS football. The playoffs are back here in Fargo. We're going to be telling you about that game going on up at the Dome. It was interesting up there yesterday, visiting with some people talking about the playoffs, the atmosphere, the energy of former seasons compared to what it feels like now. I know there's still tickets available for the Fargo Dome. I'll talk about that and this whole FCS picture, because it seems as though the energy that would have been this given week isn't quite there this year. I can't quite put my finger on as to why. And I'd love to get your thoughts onto it. I mean, are people getting bored? Is it because we've been so dang spoiled that you are expecting the outcome to be what you're hoping it's to be? There's a lot of things I want to pick apart, but that's going to be on Friday. Want to thank everybody for getting registered for the Traeger. Again, you can text the grill to 35270. Get registered there. We'll let you know about finalists next week. And then we'll have the party out of Bar 9 next Thursday and announce who the winner is. Coming up, Derek Hansen live out of Barnesville. But, folks, that is it for me. I'm Tyler Axis, your host here on Afternoons Live. I'll be back tomorrow for more of the show. Till then, you take care of yourselves. I'll check in right here on 790 AM, 104.7 FM, KFGO.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I